Did you know the practice of energy healing was first observed thousands of years ago? When the body's energy field is strong and vibrant, the entire organism remains healthy and balanced. When it is weakened, the body becomes increasingly subject to weakness and sickness. Welcome to the latest edition of Igniting Your Dynamic Self with Wendy Bjork. As an international best-selling author, inspirational speaker, and founder of heartsofwellness.com, it is my mission to empower women feeling lost in the medical system who want a holistic approach to their life to feel hope, harmony, options, peace, and empowerment to help others along the way. Joining me today is my guest, Barbara Savin. Barbara possesses an array of certifications, including clinical and medical hypnotherapist, energy healing specialist, prana psychotherapist practitioner, Reiki master teacher, guided imagery instructor, and life coach consultant. She also serves as an inspirational speaker and is the published author of Gentle Energy Touch, a beginner's guide to hands-on energy healing and identifying the energy drainers in your life. Her new book, Empower Your Journey, Positive Affirmations to Heal Your Body, Mind, and Spirit. Barbara hosts a Spiritual Warrior Coach podcast across various platforms. She also has committed her life and career to the field of energy healing, specializing in transformative work encompassing personal growth, communication skills, relationships, stress management, healthy eating, anxiety, and more. Following the tragic events of September 11, 2001, she volunteered her healing expertise to the survivors, including firefighters of the World Trade Center attack. In 2007, she took on a consultancy role at California Health and Longevity Institute, located in the Four Seasons Hotel in Westlake Village, offering energy healing and clinical hypnosis to a diverse range of clients, including those at the ranch in Malibu. Rooted in her family history, Barbara's grandmother, a healer herself, initiated Barbara into the world of energy healing. Barbara now imparts her knowledge through workshops on energy healing, protection, meditation, and gratitude. Well, welcome, everyone. I'm happy to introduce my friend Barbara Savin to our show today. So welcome here today, Barbara.
Thank you, Wendy. How are you today? And I'm so honored to be on your podcast. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you. And I know we met a while back when I was actually on your podcast, and I just really love your work. I love what you're doing for the world. And that's why we are here today, because my show is just all about empowering people with the tools they need, right time to take the steps forward in creating a better life for themselves. And I know you have a fascinating story. So why don't we begin by speaking about your grandmother and how she influenced your life?
My grandma, oh boy. Well, I was born in Coney Island in Brooklyn. And when I was very young, I was able to hear things, see things, feel things. And my grandma, who was from Istanbul, Turkey, and her mother were both very intuitive and psychic. And so she would all the time tell me, it's not your imagination. And we would sit and have talks all the time. And she, energy healing was, but she would burn these cloves and then she would actually clear me of any energies that may have attached to me. And she would say, Babasita, this is to clear your energy so that nothing bad, stays on you. And of course, I would sit and have her do that to me. Of course, I would. And then she would lay her hands on my shoulders, and I would actually feel like this tingling and all this energy just moving throughout my body. And she would do the same to my sister, who was 4 years younger than I. We always thought that grandma had magical powers. The three of us we kept it to ourselves. Now, mind you, my mother was not into any of this at all, but it was me, my grandma, and my sister. And so all the time she'd do healing on us. And the ironic thing is that we were never, ever sick. We'd come home from school. She'd immediately, she lived on the first floor. We lived on the second floor. The minute we get home from school, she'd put us in her house, sit us down, do her clearing on us and healing. And then, over time, we would look at her and say, but Grandma, could you maybe not do clearing on us so that we can maybe get sick and stay home from school? We were never sick. And she would always tell us, think positive. If anyone says anything to you that you know that that is not who you are. She would always say, take those thoughts and throw them on the ground and stomp
Mm-hmm.
on them and send it down to Mother Earth with love and light and healing. And
Oh.
ironically, to this day, I still do that. But, she was always such a beautiful light, our lives. And I didn't realize really what she was doing. And then unfortunately, she passed away right before my high school graduation.
Mm.
But I had her for all those years. She taught me about the energy healing. She taught me
Mm.
that if you see spirits and if you listen, just close your eyes and hear, because the angelic realm do speak to us. All we need to do is stay still and listen. But again, it was just the three of us, a secret.
Mm.
Because back then, I mean, I was born in 1948. So in the, 50s, even in the 60s, if you brought up anything like this, people thought you were crazy or
Mm.
mentally disturbed. And she would always say, shh, don't say anything because they'll put us in a psychiatric ward. And of
Sure.
course, I didn't say a thing, but and then I got away from it when she passed away right before my high school graduation. I couldn't understand why would God take her from me, and it took me many many years to actually forgive God and to forgive myself, knowing that I guess over time a light bulb went on inside my head, and it said no. God didn't take her. This was her soul was ready to leave at that moment. And so,
Mm-hmm.
it was all about, again, forgiveness and acceptance. But
Sure.
yeah, she was, when I look back, and my great grandma also was a healer. And I,
Mm.
I only met her twice, but you just know, you just feel that from them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so, when, many times when I'm sitting at my desk or figuring out how to write something, I'll just close my eyes and I say, Grandma, can you help me out here? And I could feel her. I mean, many times I feel her her energy just swooping and just hugging me. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing when you have someone in the family that knows
Mm.
that you're not crazy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned once she passed away after your high school graduation, you kind of left the energy healing for a while. When did you get back into it?
Uh, she died 2 weeks before. The thing is, she died 2 weeks before my high school graduation.
Oh.
And I actually had a dream before she died that she died,
Mm.
and saw her in her coffin, exactly everything that she wore. And then 2 weeks later, she died. So I thought in my mind that I was responsible for killing my grandma.
Oh.
And and then many years later, I finally got the courage to ask my mom, what did she dress her in my grandma in? Because we weren't allowed to go to the funeral. And she dressed her in her wedding gown, and everything that she told me was exactly what I saw in my dream. So I needed to forgive myself, but I had gotten away, once I turned 18, I completely got away from the energy healing. And I had some friends that would come over to me. I wouldn't tell them what I did, but when I would touch them, they could feel something.
Mm.
And so I just said, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't believe in God anymore. This is, not part of my life. And it wasn't until after I got married, had my children, and then I was in my late 30s when I started to develop rheumatoid arthritis. And that's when I started getting back to healing. My niece and I, we saw a little flyer. Now I lived in Staten Island that said a Reiki, healing.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea what Reiki was because I just knew energy healing.
Mm-hmm.
And so Stephanie and I went to this healing circle, and the practitioners were doing healing on us. And it felt somewhat like what my grandma used to do.
Mm.
And I remember sitting there crying hysterically. And I said, okay, I have to get back to this because I'm making myself sick by hating God,
Mm.
not believing, um, and, um, not forgiving the fact that all now, mind you, it's so many years later that God didn't take her. You know, this was her time to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started now in my late, around, I was almost 40 actually, started getting back to the energy healing again. And I realized, okay, this is what my grandma was showing me all this time. But because of the circumstances, I decided to stop it. And then in my 40s, full force into energy healing. I went to all the Reiki classes. I went for pranic healing. I went for healing touch. I became a hypnotherapist. I mean, you name it. And I just threw myself into the holistic. And I remember going to the doctor, and he had said to me that the blood work showed that I had rheumatoid arthritis and that I would be crippled just like my mom. And that did not do very well with me because I remember my grandma always saying, no, don't listen to those negative words from other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so for that whole year, I started doing healing. I started now visualizing myself healed. I went to a hypnotherapist who actually hypnotized me so I could feel the healing in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And a year later, I went back to him, had him take blood work again. And I remember, I'll never forget the look on his face. And he looked at me and he said, this must be a mistake. And I said, well, what's the matter? He said, doesn't show that you have rheumatoid arthritis. He's maybe the first blood work was a mistake. It was a mistake. And I explained to him what I did. And he just poo-pooed it, you know. And I
Mm-hmm.
got up and I said to him, it was because of your words telling me I'll be crippled that actually got me into knowing I can take control of my health to the best that I can and not listen to your negative words. And I
Mm-hmm.
got up, walked away, and never looked back.
That's an amazing story. And we are just so conditioned to receiving those words and
Mhm.
accepting it. And that's where we make a mistake is the
Oh, yeah.
acceptance piece. We need to be in acceptance of our power and the strength that we have inside of us because we each have the power inside of us to heal ourselves. But we've lost that connection, I think, with nature or, like you said, listening to people around us that are here to help us, like your grandmother, giving you
Mhm.
those valuable, inspirational words of don't take that on because so many people are stuck in these spots where they feel like they have zero power.
Yeah, and I always, tell everyone we need to reclaim our own energy, reclaim who we are, because so many people, and I see with my clients, they've lost themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
they've lost themselves because they've listened to other people's words. And that is the worst thing that we can do. I always say, choose your battles.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't feel right, don't do it because it's that gut feeling that never
Yes.
lies to us. I always say it's like a GPS.
Mm-hmm.
You're in your car and all of a sudden you're lost, and this feeling says go right, but this, our head, says go left. And what do? We go left, and then we say to ourselves, "I knew I should have went that way." So
Mm-hmm.
this never ever lies to us, and boy, I tell you, I know my grandma's, watching over me, but because again, I can hear her, but if we listen to our gut feeling and if we listen to voiceless voices that speak with us all the time, I really feel we would be so much in control of our own wellness and being.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And do you think this is contributing to like anxiety that the kids are feeling now because they were told to stay home and told they couldn't do this or that and their power was taken away basically and now that they're trying to find it again, I think a lot of kids are lost.
They're lost, and that whole COVID situation was really, I mean, to take that power away from us where you can't go to school, you can't see people that you love. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how can you do this to, society? But I feel in my heart we were weak
Mm-hmm.
in allowing that to be. I know for myself, I said, no one's going to stop me from going to see my daughter. No one's going to stop me from going into my office if a client wants to see me. And then
Mhm.
unfortunately, the building that I was in shut their doors. But I still had to pay rent and I
Mm.
ended up going out of business. So, this happens, because other people have taken our power from us.
Yes.
And, I tell everyone now, a lockdown or the masks, do what you feel you need to do. Don't listen to, the outside interference. And
Mhm.
yeah, a lot of the kids are suffering now because they can't get back into that swing of school. And a lot
Yeah.
of them, their grades have suffered.
Mhm.
Then I mean, my granddaughter wasn't able to graduate high school. She didn't have a high school graduation because of COVID.
Mhm.
So yeah, it takes their power away. And it's a shame that we allow, I mean, I don't want to get into the political, but that we allow this to happen.
Yeah. We all have a lot to learn from this about our power, putting the protections around ourselves. How do you recommend people protect their precious energy so that it's not leaking or, other people are grabbing onto it?
Yeah, I always say, the biggest thing is, of course, to think positive. When you wake up in the morning, if you say, "Oh, I'm tired," or "I'm this," or "I'm that," the mind is going to hear that, and the body's going to react to that way. Yeah, we may not feel so energized in the morning, but the thing is to say to ourselves, "I feel great today. Today's going to be a good day. Today I will be able to accomplish whatever." Even though we don't really believe it, we have to put it out there. That's just general, but spiritually. I tell all my clients that, when you're in your shower in the morning, just visualize, the water as cleansing rain. And just
Mm.
ask God or whomever you pray to, to just clear you of any energies that may have attached to you during the night or the day before. And when you feel like that feeling of being a little lighter energetically, then just ask to step into a bubble of protective light. You can ask for divine light, God's light, Buddha, Kuan Yin, Mother Mary, whomever you pray to.
Mm.
Visualize yourself stepping into that protective light, so that it covers you from the top of your head, from all the way under the soles of your feet. And then you can take it a step further. You can visualize somebody running towards you and then bouncing off of it so that you're protected.
Mhm.
Every single day do that. I put myself in God's light. Without a doubt, I trust love and understanding, compassion, empathy will come in and out. All of that heaviness will stay away from me because it's
Mhm.
that outside interference, that heaviness that disrupts our way of life and our own thinking and how we feel
Mhm.
about ourselves. Stepping into God's light. And I know before I go to Costco or Trader Joe's, before I step out of my car, I say, God, please, I'm asking, put me in a protective light so I don't pick up all this energy that's around me. I tell you, it really, really works. There's no doubt in my mind. Well, and that's the thing, is not to have any doubt. You have to
Mm.
know, you have to trust, you have to feel without a doubt that you are protected. Again, we're talking about that gut feeling.
Yes, our second brain.
Yes, our third eye
Mhm.
that doesn't lie to us.
Right. And when you mention the positive affirmations in the morning, do you just write those once and those are what you use every day, or do you change them every once in a while, or?
I have one that I say all the time, and I always say, I am free to be me, and so I shall be. And that was geared towards my father because my dad would always say women should be home pregnant and not working. And so he was a little male chauvinist. Dad, I'm sorry, but that's how you were. I would always look at him and tell him, I'm free to be me. I'm free to be me. And of course, it would get him upset with me. What I tell everybody is, and I love that one, I'm free to be me and so I shall be, whether you're female or male or whatever, because we are
Mhm.
we are free to be who we're meant to be. So say for instance, if you're looking to, I don't know, maybe lose weight. I've now made the choice to eat healthy. I've now made the choice to drink plenty of water. So we want to write something that is very meaningful to us, something that has happened already, not that it
Mhm.
will happen, because we want to see it that it's happened. Yeah, I say, maybe write them down, put your name on them, put it on a little, write it on a Post-it, put it on your computer or put it in your phone, something that pops up to remind you, today is a great day. Today I feel wonderful. Today I will accomplish everything that I need to. I will stay focused and concentrated on what needs to be done. Wherever you need to feel that you need improvement, there's many of incredible affirmations online that you can look up and personalize them, with your name. I would say keep them on your phone or somewhere close to you, just to remind you that this is what, you need to do. Just stay focused. I remember, we're going back many, many years ago. I had actually a lot of difficulty loving myself. My grandma knew that, and she always would call me Babasita. She'd say, Babasita, write down, I love me. Look at it, put it on the mirror, or just say to yourself, I love me. So of course I didn't want to disappoint her. So I would look in the mirror and say, okay, I love you, Barbara. I love me. So much of me said, this is such a lie. You did not love you. And then I would do it every single day. And then one day I actually looked in the mirror and I looked in my eyes and I said, I really do love you, Barbara. Words are so powerful. They can help us or they can really destroy us.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people cannot do that because they look outside themselves for their happiness. Once we realize the happiness needs to be found within, whether it takes months or years, you need to be happy yourself before you can be with another person. It's not their fault you're not happy, or not up to them to make you happy. It's up to you. And you need to figure that out, whether you spend time alone, out in nature, or on vacation, or going to a movie by yourself. Go out for lunch. It's okay to be by yourself. So that's a big first step for a lot of people in finding what's important to them and finding their inner wisdom. Is we need to spend time with ourselves.
It's utmost important, because no one else can make you happy but yourself. You have to sit still. It's so important to meditate, even if it's for a minute or two, just to stay still. Try to get those thoughts away from you. The majority of the time, a lot of thoughts that do come into us are negative. And so it's important for us to say, come on now, get away from me. I don't need you right now. You don't serve me purpose. So you can't find that happiness unless you find it with you, because no one else will make you happy. Once you yourself find that you can make you happy, all the outside happiness that you need will start to attract to you.
I believe that. And I've read somewhere we have, I don't know if it's 50 or 60,000 thoughts a day. And I think over half are negative. Or maybe even higher. They're just pelting us all day long. And then it doesn't help when people around you are saying things that are negative. We're just bombarded with it. So important to recognize it. Like you said, stomp them on the ground if you have to, if that's your visual.
Oh yeah,
Bang them back out.
But I send them down with love and light and healing because they need to heal.
Yes.
Everything needs to heal back into positive. We can't keep a hold of this. And right now, everything is so heavy outside this world. God, when I look back and, my growing up, it was so different. It was so different. I don't know where we lost ourselves.
There's so many things that are contributing that we don't think we have control over, but we do. We can control ourselves, and I think that helps everybody else. It goes outward. If we are doing the work, helping a few people along the way, I think it creates a ripple effect.
My grandma would always say, if you just help one person, that one person will help somebody else. It'll go on and on and on. Be kind to those around us. I was at Trader Joe's, and there was a very elderly person in front of me, and she didn't buy much. She bought like maybe 3 or 4 pieces of fruit, and she was looking through her bag and she was taking out, like pennies and nickels, and everybody is like, oh, getting all crazy. And I said to myself, wow, she doesn't have money. So I reached over and I put my debit card, in there, and I said to the girl, I got this. She looked at me, she said, oh, no, I know, it's okay. You're good. People just looked at me, and the cashier looked at me and she said to me, my God, she says, I want to cry. She says, that was such a kind thing to do. But this is how we should be when we see those suffering. What is it to spend, $5 or whatever it is instead of making all this noise that you're being impatient
Yes.
on this line, pay for the
Mhm.
lady's groceries. You see, she's struggling to find money and she's taking out pennies and nickels and dimes. And
Mhm.
she only had like $2 worth of fruit. Even if she had $10 worth, still would have paid for it. Feel again that intuitive feeling. I could
Mhm.
feel she was struggling. And it
Mhm.
wasn't even just watching her do what she was doing. I could sense this lady is struggling.
Yeah.
And we need to be kinder to those around us. I
Mhm.
think people they're becoming desensitized.
Yes. And a lot of people just simply can't see what they're looking for. I mean, maybe
No.
she did have it, but she just can't put it all together.
Mm-hmm,
That's such
mm-hmm.
a beautiful thing to do, was just help her.
I'm from Brooklyn, and then sometimes I have to actually control myself, but I felt like looking and telling them, hey, give the lady a break here. What are
Mhm.
you doing?
Yes.
But of course, I didn't do that because I didn't want to suffer consequences because they could have been nice or not.
hmm
you know,
And I wonder if it comes back to we are so hooked to electronics. We are not grounded like we should be, just to nature, just being in the rhythm of nature. That gives us patience and teaches us patience. It's all kind of been swept aside as not important when it really is, or how you find practices for grounding yourself.
all this electronics definitely ungrounds us. The sneakers, the shoes that we wear unground us because we're not taking off our shoes, being on the ground, to Mother Nature. What I do for myself, I don't do it every day. Well, I ground myself every day, but sometimes I'll just go in my backyard and I'll take off my shoes and I'll just stand on the grass because, again, that's Mother Earth's energy. Just stand and I'll listen to the birds for just a few moments. I visualize for myself roots growing from the soles of my feet, growing all the way down into Mother
Mm,
Earth. I just wait there for a moment and I ask for Mother Earth's energy to come to me so that I feel
mhm,
grounded, I feel centered, and I feel balanced. That is important. The roots are important to ground us because, and I explain this to many people, look at these beautiful trees. The trees have deep roots all the way down into the earth. If a storm comes along, the trees may sway a little bit. They're not going to fall over. It's the same for us. If we are grounded and we're balanced and we centered and we stay focused, things that may come at us, yeah, we may sway a little bit, but we won't topple over. So grounding
mm,
is so important. Grounding is just every day should be practiced. And it only takes
mm,
only a few seconds to visualize. Or if you can't visualize, just know, trust, and feel that that is what's happening.
mm,
And just to do it quickly every day and just take time to take that breath in and feel that because our breath is our life force energy. Without our breath, we won't be here. If you would just be more mindful of the breathing and everything that's around us, automatically you would feel less stressed. You'd feel different. You'd feel calm, more peaceful. But everybody is rushing all the time and looking at their
mm,
phones, which drives me insane. We have a rule now that when all the kids come home from college and everybody is together, no one is allowed to bring the phone to the table. We need that human contact. We want to know, how are you doing? What's going
mhm,
on in your life? Not that you're looking at Instagram or this video or TikTok or whatever it may be. That's not real. It's not real. It's not reality.
mhm,
And the kids are so caught up in that that's why they're not grounded. That's why they are stressed. And that's why they're just all over the place, is because of all this information is not reality.
And it
And
comes
they
so
waste so much.
fast,
Yeah. Mhm.
just instant.
Or playing these computer games, instead of, in my days, we were outside, and I remember my mother always saying, make sure you come back when those lights, the lights go on. And we'd come home when the lights went on, but we were out playing, we were riding our bicycle, we were playing hit the penny, and all these incredible
Mhm,
things that these kids do not have. And it's sad. It's really sad when I think about it because
mhm,
they're so hooked on this electronic stuff. Yeah, of course it's great. I mean, here, look, we're doing YouTube. We would never be,
Yes.
we'd never be able rather to do Zoom, in my days.
Yeah, it's just so interesting about how the kids have changed versus even when I was young, how everything is instant and it's on your phone. Everything you want to look up, it's right there. That's probably why nobody has any patience anymore.
And to look at things. Whereas in my days, go to the library and you'd read, you'd take books out, find information. Now everything is just there for them. And unfortunately, all the again, TikTok and Instagram and all these things that it's taking away their living in the moment. They live for tomorrow because they're looking at things. What could they do or be better than these TikTok things? Or they're looking at, in the past. And so when we don't live in the moment, we're losing so much of everything that we should be able to see.
Hopefully, they'll see conversations like ours where maybe it'll click for them. You've written a book, done so much work in that realm. Your recent Gentle Energy Touch. Love that title of Everything is Here for Us by you writing the book and bringing awareness to that. Can you tell me what gave you the idea for it and why you wrote it?
When I lived in Brooklyn, once I got back to energy healing, I was teaching energy healing. I had again, all written, notes.
Mm-hmm.
Then we moved here 21 years ago to California. I started putting all those notes together. I was the real lucky one, you could say, that I ended up getting a job at the Four Seasons Hotel at the California Health and Longevity Institute. They hired me as the energy healer and hypnotherapist. I started, putting a lot of things together, and I had mentioned to one of my clients because she wanted me to teach her energy healing. And I says, oh, yeah, I have all these notes and everything. And she said, maybe you should put it in a book. Talk about, not having confidence now. I said, oh, I don't think anyone would publish the book, if I put it in a book. And she said, well, you should. And so I sat and I started now typing and putting everything that I taught for all those years into some type of manuscript. And I sent it out, to a few publishers, and I figured maybe not, but this said probably not, okay? But this said just do it, trust someone, that right person will pick it up. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I got a call from Red Wheeler, and they wanted to publish the book. And I was shocked at that, to be quite honest. But that's how that book got published. And everything, I'd say the majority of what I wrote in the book was everything that my grandma used to tell me. And when I put it all together, I would sit and say, okay, Grandma, I need a little help here. What should I write? And actually, that's how that book really came about, with all the energy centers and energy protection and how to do healing on yourself and knowing. And she would always tell me, healing is not easy. It's not meant to be hard. And so when I wrote the book, I kept that in mind, that it needs to be simple. Because if we make it, so scientific and no one will pay attention to it. And so the book was written in a very simplistic way. And the publisher actually said to me, I love this book because it's so simple and easy to read and understand, but there's so much meaning into it. And so that's how that all started, as what I used as a workshop. I had gotten the job at the Four Seasons. And it's funny about listening to other people's words, because all my friends back east said, oh, you'll never get that job at the Four Seasons because you're too Brooklyn.
Oh.
Okay? Right? And I said, now I could have listened, but I didn't. And I said, I know what I'm doing. I'm a good person. I've had all this, I volunteered for 9/11, for hospice, for psychiatric ward. I did a lot of work back east. And so when I went into that interview, I just showed him who I was. I didn't put any ears up or anything. This is who I am. If it's meant to be, it'll happen. And I ended up getting this position. And my friends were very shocked because they felt, oh, you'd had to be worldly and, and not have that Brooklyn accent, to work in a Four Seasons hotel. I ended up working there for 15 years, and then unfortunately COVID, the California Health and Longevity Institute went out of business. But I mean, the hotel's still there, but that, went out of business. Again, we have to trust, do it. If you get a whole bunch of no's, that's okay. But you never know. You may get that one yes. Just keep on trying.
Yes.
Because if we don't try, then we have all those coulda, woulda, shouldas.
Yes.
And
I agree wholeheartedly. Like you said, just asking and putting ourselves out there is very scary. And maybe we shouldn't tell people that we know don't believe in us what we are going to do. Their automatic reaction is, you won't get to do that. You're not good enough. And they're actually seeing things inside themselves that maybe they're lacking that they know you have, and that scares them. I think that happens quite often too with our friend circle.
It happens a lot. We need to learn to trust ourselves and not to listen to other people's words.
Right. Because we will not get anywhere if we're basically living their life through their lens when we're listening to other people.
No, you have to put that aside, very politely. I hear you.
In your office, is there a website or a way people can reach you to schedule appointments? No, you have amazing offerings, as I've experienced it myself with your healing meditation series. I would like other people to experience that as well because it's life-changing. It's life-changing when we listen to our inner guidance and allow ourselves to feel this modalities.
The holistic, I've always been in the holistic field. Believe me, if I need medication, of course I'll look to that. But I feel we need to help ourselves, truly first. But getting back to my website is barbarasavin.com. It's BARBARASAVIN.com. It's also motivateyourlife.net. They could also find me on YouTube, Barbara Savin. And I also have the podcast that you've been on, the Spiritual Warrior Coach podcast. Right, that's on YouTube and on my website. I do energy healing sessions, hypnotherapy sessions. I also do a lot of spiritual life counseling. And I've been in the midst of doing a spiritual meditation series. We're into a new series. So I'm trying to keep myself busy. Let's put it that way. I'm in my late 70s. And I say to myself, okay, this is something that I love. This is my purpose and my passion. So I don't see me just stepping away from this. And I say, no matter how old we are, do what you feel you love, do what you enjoy doing, something that you just need to sit and reach inside of yourself.
The ideas come in our head, and it's up to us whether we embrace it and go with it or if we just keep squashing it. It's your mission here to do, and you need to do it.
Again, all those regrets of not doing something.
Wonderful. I will put all of your links below so people can reach out to you. You're just such a beautiful light is shining here for us, holding each other's hand. I think no matter where we are in the world, I'm thousands of miles from you, but it's just like being in the room with you. So I appreciate that about you. I'm grateful for you for being here today. Continue to inspire others, find what is meaningful to them, find their healing, find what they need to find.
Amen. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. And we will see everyone next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.